So this week I have something a bit more interesting and more fun, because as you've seen, I did like a mini vlog as my intro. I had a lot of fun with my friends. It was a night out and we had a few drinks. It was just a good night. I wore this look and I'm going to show you how I did it, because this is actually a makeup tutorial. So let's start.
To prime my eyelids, I'm using first the Radiant Creamy Concealer from NARS in medium custard, and I'm blending this out with the fingers so that I'm left with a very thin layer. I'm applying a small amount of the same concealer to the inner part of the eyes, just to lift the shadows that I have there. The first transition shade is from MAC, it's the soft brown, and I am also using a Beauties Tools brush, the 776. I'm swiping this across the whole crease area from the outer part of the eye to the inner part of the eye, and then to the left, to the right again, until the edges are seamless. The eyeshadow palette I'm going to use for this look is the Nubian by Juvia's Place, and I'm taking first that eyeshadow, which is a matte light orangey brown, and I'm using the same brush from Beauties Tools. So for this look, most of the work is at the base, at the roots of my lashes, and I'm going to apply layer by layer from light to dark until, you know, I'm just happy with the gradient. I switched brushes. I'm using here a double-ended Sephora one, and I also took the next eyeshadow. So as I've said, I'm trying to create a gradient, and that's why this eyeshadow is darker and closer to the lash line. The easiest way to do this gradient is place the color down where you want it with the brush, and then take a clean one, or as I'm going to do, I'm going to take the previous one I've used for the lighter eyeshadow and just go over the edges. The darkest point should be the bottom one, so the lash line actually, and as you go upwards you should have a nice gradient. You should see the color fading out. Now I'm taking the darkest eyeshadow from the palette, which is a matte brown, and I'm using here the same brush from Sephora, but the other end, it is the smudge end. And now I'm just repeating the same steps I did previously. I'm placing the color where I want it, and then I'm smudging upwards so that I'm not going to have any harsh lines. I'm doing the same thing a few times with the same eyeshadow, because when you're blending out the color, it might fade away too much. So there's nothing wrong with building up the color. It is actually a good idea in everything you do makeup wise. Foundation, eyeshadows, just layer by layer, thin layers is always a good idea. For a tiny eyeliner work, I am using a super liner from L'Oreal in Intense Black. I'm doing just a small flick really. This is no eyeliner look, it's just a small amount on the outer part of the eye. This black eyeshadow is from Inglot in 391, it's a matte one. And with it, I'm just smoking out the line I did. This look is not about anything graphic, it's more about a nice gradient, as I've said, from very dark to lighter shades. For this step, I'm using the same Sephora brush. So I'm doing the same technique, it's no different. I am placing the color, I'm blending it out. Again, I'm placing it, I'm blending it out until I'm happy with how it looks. My highlighter is my favorite shimmery one from Art Deco. I think you all know this, but unfortunately is a limited edition. You can't find it anymore. It's in the shade 27, a beautiful, beautiful champagne rose. So this goes under the brow and also on the tear duct area. Right, so now I'll remove the eyeshadow shields and we'll be able to see how this looks, and I also need to clean up just the slightest bit. My mascara is from L'Oreal, it's the Mega Volume Baby Roll one, and I'm applying this only to the top lashes at the moment, and then I'm going to put on some false lashes and then move on to the base. My lashes are the long black individuals from Ardell, and first of all I'm going to dip them into a bit of a lash adhesive and then place them down where I want them. My complexion is already moisturized with the Hydrin Riche from La Roche-Posay, and then I used a pore filler from NYX. This is my face primer. The brush I'm using here is the Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques, and I like to do this because it's going to have some of the product in it when I apply my foundation, and the idea is that, you know, the foundation is going to be more long lasting. And by the way, long-lasting foundations, I am using a long-lasting foundation with the SPF of 20 from Art Deco. It's the shade 30, and I love this one so much. It's so full coverage, but I don't have the feeling that I have something very thick on the skin and that it sits on top. It's just beautiful. The color as well. Then it's time for concealer, and I'm using the same one from NARS underneath the eyes as I normally do, and just basically on the center of my face and on the redness I have down my face and neck. This is a essential foundation brush from Real Techniques I am using here to blend all the concealer out. Then I'm setting my base with the same powder from Tony Moe from the beginning, and I'm using a Real Techniques brush, the multi-tusk one. Now that the glue has dried, I am using the same liner from L'Oreal to cover the points, or the base where I've put the individuals down. The glue dries clear, but it can be a bit shiny, so that's my problem. Now I'm jumping again to the eyes. I want to finish them off, and I am using the same reddish brown from the beginning underneath the eyes. I'm dragging this along the lash line with another Real Techniques brush. I normally like to finish the base and then move to the eyes again, but I just did it like this time, so let's roll with it. I took the black again, and I am putting this along the lash line. I'm just keeping it a bit tighter this time. The thing is, I want to create the same gradient underneath the eyes as well as I did for the top part of the eye. For my lower lashes, I am using a waterproof mascara from MAC. This is black, and I love it so much because it's really waterproof. I think I've used it in almost all my videos, and when I haven't, it was me thinking that I have to use something else because you might tire of seeing me using the same one in every video. But you know what? It's so good. I love it. For the waterline, I took a Burberry eyeliner in a flesh colored. I like this one as well because it's very opaque and it stays on. And then I used the Hoola from Benefit as my bronzer. I definitely need some dimension in my face, so I took a Ziva bronzing brush and I'm applying my bronzer where I normally apply it. So the cheekbone area in a slightly sculpting way, but not really because I'm doing wider motions. Then the forehead, a bit on my chin, and for the nose, I'm slimming down my nose with it. For blusher, I took the Sweet Coral and Apricot from Kiko, and I just did a mixture of the two of them and applied them to the cheeks. The same favorite eyeshadow from Art Deco I am taking next on a fan brush from Ziva, and this is my face highlighter as well. To fill in and reshape my eyebrows, I am using a Maybelline Master Brow Pro palette in soft brown. The only shade I'm using is that middle one on a 263 brush from MAC. My lip liner is from Maybelline, the Color Sensational range in Nude Whisper.
So guys, this was my night out look. I really hope you liked it. As always, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. All is free. It will be also amazing, and it helps me a lot. Follow me on social media because I am there on Instagram, on Vero, and on Facebook. So I'm gonna catch you now in my next tutorial. Bye!